I'm Bob. I like coffee. I also like to tell stories. So, here at the Bobcast Coffee, it's time for a coffee break. So, take a coffee break with me and pour yourself a cup of your favorite Joe. By the time you're done with your coffee, you'll know something about me you really didn't need to know. But you'll have fun learning it. Just remember, my stories are true for the most part. This episode is brought to you by Scars and Stripes Coffee. This episode is brought to you by Scars and Stripes Coffee. The producers. This episode is brought to you by Scars and Stripes Coffee. The producers, Reynolds Revival, has teamed up with Scars and Stripes Coffee to bring you some of the best coffee you are ever going to put into your mug. Scars and Stripes is veterans working with veterans to support veterans. The coffee itself, fabulous, smooth, top shelf taste. So try some today. Easiest way is go to www.ss.coffee/REYNOLDS. That's Scars and Stripes Coffee at www.ss.coffee/Reynolds. Go online, pick up some coffee, and enjoy a shot. Today I'm enjoying my coffee out of another tourist coffee cup. This one from the beautiful state of Utah. My wife and I drove through. We spent some time with family out in Utah, having a little reunion. Brought home a mug. Surprising, isn't it? But it works great. Scars and Stripes, good coffee. Today is going to be episode 28, Karate. So we're going to talk about the story of my life in karate. Be prepared, it's a painful story. Here we go, episode 28. A while back, I told you the story of how I got into karate. But that only leads into more questions and more stories. Karate was a great time for me. I got to spend a lot of time with my youngest son and spend that time in a relatively violent pursuit. Joshua, Linda, and I made some very good friends there. And those friends could kick me in the head repeatedly. ABKA Karate is a worldwide reaching ministry bringing Christ to people through karate. The dojo that my family went to was the Surrey Hills Baptist Church in Oklahoma. Now, I loved everything about this dojo. There's discipline, fitness, fighting skills, and they have a sermonade right in the middle of every karate night. It's a 10 to 15 minute sermon to help keep us grounded in what was really important. Back in the beginning, it was Linda and Josh who joined. Now, Linda belted up a couple of times, but this really was not her thing. Then the fateful night happened that I cornered myself into joining. Now, as a lower belt, that is the white and yellow belts, you don't fight because, well, not knowing what you're doing can get other people hurt. So when you do start fighting, you only fight with the upper belts. That's the brown and black belts. Now, they're supposed to be able to take a hit better than most, and control their punches. And as an adult, well, they let you in the ring a little early. Now, I would guess that's to keep your interest up. Now, I looked at it as being a handy cannon fodder. Hey, Bob, get in there. Now, my first fight was with a purple belt. And this is when I was advancing from yellow to orange. Now, I did have a lot of fun that night. Promotions and advancement is always fun. There are fights and katas and all sorts of fun stuff, board breaking. But this night, two problems happened. One, Bob, at 5 foot 4 inches, was fighting a 6 foot plus adult. Now, he had the reach, the speed, and the skill to totally eat my lunch. But he did try to hold back on this novice. Now, the second problem was sometime during this rain of punches coming down upon Bob, I got a cut on my face. All right. Yes, I felt the sting, but it was only a flesh wound. So I finished the fight. I always figure you're going to start something, finish it. Well, at the end, we were bowing out of the ring, and the sensei who was running that ring said, "You might want to go clean up that cut." I, in a normal male response, took my finger, wiped the blood from my eyebrow. This is where I felt the blow land. Came away, it's nothing. It's just a little smear of blood. Now the sensei looks at me for just a moment, and then without breaking a grin, showing any type of emotion, they say, "Go show Linda." Well, I don't know if I like this approach to teaching. If I don't give you the right answer, you're going to rat me out to my wife? Okay, sensei. And I walked out to the foyer of the church where Linda was talking to some of our friends. Now I walk up, very nonchalant, and I say, "Hey, hon, how bad's this scratch?" She turns and gives me that cold, deadpan look that makes all the voices in my head stop talking over each other at once. And they said in unison, "Oh, crap." Then my loving wife, she pulls out her phone, takes a picture of my face, and went back to her conversation. The cut started from my forehead, traveled down across my eyebrow, my nose, and down to my lip. Okay, it was pretty cool. Now, most fights for Bob do go in one direction, and that is downward blows to my head. As I come to find out, as far as adult males go, I am one of the shortest in the ABKA Oklahoma, Texas area. And a lot of fights are really Bob trying just to get close enough to score a point and taking a pounding for his efforts. Now, the good news is, once I get in close, I can hold my own. But getting into that range is some very painful real estate. So fighting in my first tournament was no different. I showed up to my ring to find out there were only 6 of us yellow and orange belts. And I draw for my first round, my first tournament fight, a gentleman who was a little younger than me. I was 52, 53 actually. And he was probably 35. But the worst part was he stood almost 7 foot tall. Now this is the part of the story that I would love to embellish. and say he was 8'6", 375 pounds of just mean right now. No. But he was almost 7 feet tall. Now, he's over a foot taller than me. But I did score 3 points in that fight. One, I actually landed the hit. The other 2 points were warnings to him for, illegal punching. See, in tournament fighting, you need to think of it as a very violent game of tag. The first strike gets the point. So a tall opponent has the advantage in arm length, where they can hit you before you ever get in range. So we would line up in the ring, across from each other, bow in, get in position. And then the sensei would reach in and he would go, Hajime! And the fight was on. And I move in for a strike and wham! My head is ringing. My opponent has sent a sledgehammer down on top of me. Now, I'm only 5'3", but the point went to me. See, even though his punch landed first, he hit me on top of the head. Tournament fights, you cannot strike in certain spots, and the top of the head is one of them. So we line up and we go again. Hajime! Wham! Bob takes another blow, and he's now standing at 5'2". And the second point goes to me. Now, as they're warning my opponent for the second and last time, I spit out my mouthpiece and I tell the sensei not to be too hard on him. The top of my head is the closest part of my body to him. Yeah, the sensei didn't find that funny either. So now we go for a third time. My opponent at this point is being a little skittish. He doesn't want to hit me in the head again. He gets kicked out of the tournament if he does. So I take advantage and I land a mighty ridge hand right into the side. Hit him right in the ribs. Now, the side of my hand is going to whip from my side right into his side. I get the point. But all I really did was remind him that he did not need to punch straight down at me. But he could attack from the sides. That was the last point I got. From that point on, he beat the living bacon out of the sides of my head. And I lost the fight 9-3. Now, not all fights that we do are in tournaments. We fight as a dojo at least once a month. And when there's rank advancements needed, we fight then. Now, this allows for the members of the dojo to have some epic battles and grudge matches. And one epic battle I had was with Jacob. Jacob was this teenager. He was a wonder kid, and he loved to kick me in the side of the head. Now, I understand that at my towering height of 5'4", my head is not that high of a target, especially for a limber, jumping jackal. The mean part was that he could and would often throw the first kick about 6 inches above my head. Then, like lightning, go for the kill shot. Bam! For a long time, I ducked and I twisted and I would do whatever I could so that those kicks never landed solidly into my head. So late into my karate life, I'm in the ring with this now black belt Jacob, and the blue belt Bob is trying something new. Every time Jacob goes for his uber kick, instead of evading it, I move in and make it impossible for him to land the kick. Now, I'm not scoring any hits of my own here, but I'm not taking any glancing blows either. They may be glancing, but they still hurt a lot. Well, that is until Jacob gets tired of this kind of fun, and he feigns the kick. So I jump in, and now I realize I'm way too close to his hands, and as I attempt to move back out of range, he throws the kick again, landing for the first time a full contact blow to the side of my head. His jumping roundhouse kick. My stars and garters. I may have been hit harder in my life, but I believe that was by a car. Now, I spin around, and by some miracle, I stay on my feet. Or at least I think I'm still on my feet. Well, I look across the ring, and there's Jacob, and there's Jacob, and over there's Jacob. There are 3 Jacobs. Crap. I'm seeing 3 of him, and I am now a serious sitting duck at this moment. So I pick the Jacob in the middle, and I look at him as close to square in the eyes as I can, and I smile. Yes, the toothy mouthpiece smile. I don't know how, but it buys me time. And I get all 3 Jacobs back into one, and then I have the ability left to avoid any more serious contacts for the last few seconds of this fight. Later, Jacob told me that my smile kind of spooked him, and he wasn't sure what I had planned if I could take that kind of hit and still smile at him. See, sometimes a bluff works. And then there's times when nothing works. Those are the times that I was fighting my loving son, Joshua. The problem with Joshua is like the rest of ABKA, Joshua is 6 foot tall. And he can kick over my head, and he's lightning fast. In fact, when Joshua and Jacob fought, everyone loved to watch. When Bob and Joshua fought, everyone loved to watch that, except for me. Now, my secret weapon in karate, and when it comes to the fighting, is that I can take a hit really well. So, when it comes to fighting, my son, well, he got his height and his long limbs from Linda's side of the family. And he got the ability to take a hit really well from me. So basically, I can take a baseball bat into the ring and be no more ahead than just trying to beat him with my hands and my feet. There was one time we're going at it in the ring, and I know I have just hit him hard. And his response is to pick me up and throw me to the ground on the other side of the ring. At the time, I weigh 220 pounds. And he just picked me up and threw me to the far side of the ring. So I'm scrambling to get up, and I'm up on one knee, and I look up to see the joy of my life, my own little boy. He's coming down on me with a pile driver punch. So I do what any loving father does. I cup check him with a forward lunge punch right in the groin. It didn't faze him at all, and he plowed this old man right into the mat. I do love that boy. The great thing about ABKA is after we fight, we still hug each other as we're leaving the mat. And sometimes, when Josh and I hug at the end of a fight, could start a second fight. Oh well. Now, there are a lot of stories about pain in the ABKA rings. I'm probably going to have to continue this in other podcasts. Maybe next time I'll talk about the women who hurt Bob. Until next time, enjoy your coffee.